This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Well, before we get to what's going to happen with Mark Merrow and Hunter, we got to address some things that happened after WrestleMania over in Europe. Of course, it's tradition in this era. Once WrestleMania is in the books, we're going to head across the pond. And Meltzer would say, quote, lots of things went on when you pack 24 wrestlers and keep them together for a 17-day tour, as you can imagine. Diesel and Ramon were flagrantly breaking every company rule they could in full view of everyone. There was tremendous heat on Michaels and Helmsley in particular. Of course, in this point, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash have already given notice. They're leaving. They're going to WCW. So they no longer think the rules apply to them because what are they going to do? Punish us? We're leaving. Mm-hmm. And it's got to be hard from a talent relations standpoint to manage talent like this. And it's happening thousands of miles away.
Yeah. In hindsight, Conrad, we shouldn't have booked Razor and Diesel on that tour.
Agree.
Just shouldn't have done it. And so somebody's out there listening saying, well, why did you? Well, it was giving the audience in Europe the best card that we could. Those guys have got an enormous amount of positive television time. The word was out that they were leaving. So from markability standpoint, a lot of the fans realize this may be the last time, looks like it might be, pretty sure, that they're going to be seen on a WWE card. And it was for a long, long time. So, but in hindsight, I probably would have suggested to Vince that we not send them over there because it's just the option or the opportunity to have so many negative things come out of it existed. But again, the logic was, let's give them our best card. These guys are two massive stars, and they were. But, you can't foresee the unprofessional conduct and attitude that apparently permeated. I got calls I can't remember who the agents by that in that deal, who they were. I think Jerry Briscoe was on that show. And I got, and whoever the agents were, I got calls every day. Well, here's the latest. And, they're old school guys, and they're even head of old school than I. They've been around longer. They're older.
Right.
And I'd shake my head. And I can only imagine how they're dealing with it. Because you got a lot of guys on there that knew that the conduct was just wrong. And that's not how they were raised. That's not how but those guys had all the leverage. They had a great rapport with the old man. They were associated with Sean, who was our best worker. And they were associated with Triple H, who was on his way to becoming one of our very top guys. So it was a rock and a hard spot scenario. If we had more depth, I'm sure that booking could have been amended, but we didn't. That's what one of our goals were in talent relations, to start signing new guys, training new guys. And I think we accomplished that over time, but we didn't have a magic fix for it at that very moment. So you just went with what you had best on the roster, and that's what you took on the road for 17 days.
Well, it's obvious that this sort of behavior isn't going to be the last time we're going to see it. We're just a few weeks away from the curtain call. Of course, we've covered that topic to death in the archives over at GorillaJR.com. Ultimately, though, Helmsley's the guy who's sort of low man on the totem pole, and he's going to be the one who's quote unquote punished. Supposedly, when all the backlash happens from that event, Hunter has a sit down with Vince, and Vince says something like, you're going to have to learn to eat a lot of shit and like the taste of it.
Mm-hmm. I've been told that myself a few times. You have to acquire he told me it was like drinking scotch. JR, do you like scotch? Vince, I've never developed a taste for scotch. I'm more of a Crown Royal guy myself. He said, well, in your job, you're going to have to learn to eat a lot of shit. So you're going to acquire the taste like you would if you were trying to learn to like scotch.
Wow.
And he was right. It was I will say, even I don't even know who has that job nowadays there. But it's a thankless fucking job.
I think it's Johnny Ace again.
Really? Okay. Well, it's only what goes around comes around, right?
Yep. What's old is new again.
Yeah. And I hope he does well. You know, one of my original hires, I hired him to be my assistant, and he parlayed that opportunity into a real good run there, where I'm sure he's making great money, and I'm sure he's making good money now. So, but it was just hard, Connie, dealing with some of those issues. So part of the resurrection of a talent roster is, let's not just look at someone's athletic abilities. Let's look at what kind of human being they are and what kind of locker room, what kind of teammate are you going to be? And to me, that was important. Work ethic and all those things. That was one of the things I hung my hat on hiring Mick Foley. He's like Triple H. He didn't drink. He didn't do drugs. And the boys liked him. He was respected. So, and that's the kind of people we want to try to bring in. And then when we started training people, that's some of the traits that we wanted to share and to teach younger talents, how to conduct yourself around your peers and your teammates. And sometimes it's just overlooked and undervalued, and it shouldn't be.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.